In a world that perpetually evaluates our self-control, envision possessing the secret to enduring inner serenity and unwavering regard, merely by mastering the art of behaving as though nothing perturbs you. We navigate an existence overflowing with incentives, a continuous deluge of data, viewpoints, and happenings. Certain aspects elevate us, others present difficulties, and indeed, numerous elements hold the capacity to vex, aggravate, and even profoundly distress us. Within such a fluctuating setting, how do we preserve our stability? How do we traverse the inevitable adversities without being swayed by every passing influence? Today, I wish to elaborate on a potent aptitude, a valuable asset in our progression, acquiring the skill to act as if nothing bothers you. Now, allow me to establish clarity from the onset. This is not about stifling our sentiments or transforming into emotionless automatons. As our initial fundamental point underscored, a vital divergence exists between our internal experience and our outward demeanor. It pertains to acknowledging that while we cannot invariably dictate the events that befall us, we undeniably possess command over our reactions. Our subsequent fundamental point emphasized the notion of calculated tranquility. Reflect upon it. When we visibly respond to each minor offense, every inconvenience, we relinquish our influence. We communicate to the world the factors that can unsettle us, the elements that can divert us. This can regrettably render us susceptible to manipulation or simply instigate needless discord. Conversely, acting composed permits us to sustain equilibrium, think lucidly, and arrive at choices from a position of fortitude, not unrefined sentiment. We judiciously select our confrontations, conserving our vitality for matters of genuine import. This directs us to our third consideration, safeguarding our inner harmony. Each instance we permit external annoyances to visibly impact us, we invite negativity into our thoughts and physical being. We expend valuable mental and emotional energy on matters that frequently possess minimal enduring consequence. By cultivating an external presentation of being unperturbed, we establish a buffer, a defense that aids in preserving our internal tranquility. This does not imply we disregard issues, but rather that we address them with a serene and collected disposition, safeguarding our psychological well-being. Furthermore, as our fourth fundamental point implied, a placid exterior frequently translates to the development of resilience and esteem. Individuals are naturally drawn to those who project strength and self-control. When we do not become easily agitated, we convey an image of competence and fortitude. This can garner us the respect of our associates, our colleagues, and even those who might otherwise seek to provoke us. Our consistent presence can serve as a source of strength not solely for ourselves but also for those in our vicinity. Finally, let us bear in mind, as our fifth fundamental point accentuated, that acquiring the ability to act as if nothing bothers you is a personal journey of self-mastery. It is not an instantaneous metamorphosis. It necessitates self-awareness, comprehending our triggers and our typical responses. It demands self-discipline, consciously opting for a calmer reaction, even when our inner state might be turbulent. It involves practicing mindfulness, pausing to breathe before reacting, and progressively nurturing a more resilient and less reactive disposition. The very foundation of learning to act as if nothing bothers you resides in a profound comprehension of the distinction between that which falls within our realm of influence and that which exists beyond its confines. This is not a mere abstract contemplation. It is the fundamental principle upon which the capacity to sustain composure and inner peace amidst a chaotic world is constructed. To genuinely grasp this initial fundamental point, we must delve into the intricate interplay between our internal landscape and the external reality that perpetually engages with it. The external world constitutes an unceasing torrent of stimuli. It encompasses the actions and utterances of others, the unpredictable nature of occurrences, the fluctuations of circumstances, and the sheer capriciousness that life frequently presents. We encounter viewpoints that contradict our own, behaviors that we find irritating or even offensive, and situations that deviate significantly from our expectations or desires. This external domain lies largely, if not entirely, outside our direct command. We cannot dictate the thoughts or sentiments of others, nor can we invariably foresee or prevent the unfolding of events. To believe otherwise is to predispose ourselves to constant frustration and a perpetual state of being bothered. Consider the everyday interactions that can instigate a reactive response. A coworker might offer unsolicited and unwelcome critique. A motorist might abruptly cut in front of your vehicle. A news headline might fill you with anger or despair. A social media comment might be intentionally provocative. In each of these instances, the external instigator, the remark, the driving maneuver, the news item, the online post, originates outside of your being. You did not initiate it, and in most scenarios, you could not have averted it. To permit these external occurrences to dictate your internal state, to allow them to unsettle you and disrupt your tranquility, is to surrender your emotional well-being to forces beyond your control. This is where the crucial understanding of internal command becomes pertinent. While we may lack the ability to control the external stimuli, we possess an inherent power over our internal reactions to them. Our thoughts, our emotions, and our subsequent actions ultimately reside within our jurisdiction. We possess the capacity to choose how we interpret a situation, what significance we ascribe to it, and the extent to which we permit it to influence our emotional state. This power, though frequently underestimated, is the key to unlocking the ability to act as if nothing bothers you. Acquiring the skill to act unfazed is not about becoming emotionally unresponsive or suppressing genuine sentiments. It is not about feigning that hurtful words lack impact or that frustrating situations are non-existent. To attempt such complete emotional detachment is not only unrealistic but also potentially detrimental to our psychological health. Instead, it is about consciously selecting how we respond to those feelings. We might experience anger, frustration, or disappointment, yet we can choose not to allow those emotions to consume us or dictate our outward conduct. Envision it as observing a tempest from within a robust shelter. The winds may howl, the rain may lash against the walls, but within the shelter, you remain secure and dry. You acknowledge the storm's presence, yet you do not permit it to penetrate your sanctuary. Similarly, when external irritations arise, we can acknowledge the feeling they evoke without allowing it to take root and manifest in a disruptive outward reaction. This conscious selection necessitates a degree of self-awareness. We need to comprehend our own triggers, the specific types of situations or behaviors that tend to elicit a strong emotional response within us. Once we identify these triggers, we can commence developing strategies for managing our reactions when they surface. This might involve taking a deep breath before responding, consciously reframing the situation in a less negative light, or simply choosing to disengage and not grant the external stimulus the power to influence our inner state. Furthermore, understanding the distinction between internal and external command empowers us to allocate our energy more effectively. Instead of squandering mental and emotional resources on attempting to alter or control elements that are inherently beyond our grasp, we can direct our efforts towards managing our own thoughts, feelings, and actions. This shift in focus is liberating. It permits us to transition from a position of reactivity and helplessness to one of agency and empowerment. The ability to act as if nothing bothers you is not about denial. It is about a strategic distribution of our emotional resources. We learn to discern which conflicts warrant engagement, which irritations merit acknowledgement with a visible reaction, and which are best met with a calm and composed demeanor. This does not imply that we become passive or indifferent to injustice or wrongdoing. Rather, it signifies that we select our moments judiciously, ensuring that our responses are deliberate and efficacious, rather than impulsive and driven by transient emotions. In essence, the initial fundamental point underscores a basic verity. While the external realm will inevitably present us with trials and vexations, our internal sphere, our responses, and our outward presentation are fundamentally our accountability. By acknowledging and embracing this distinction, we undertake the initial and most vital stride towards nurturing the aptitude to navigate life's unavoidable tempests with elegance, fortitude, and an enduring sense of inner serenity. This comprehension is not merely a theoretical notion. It constitutes the practical groundwork for the subsequent crucial understanding in mastering the skill of appearing undisturbed resides in perceiving it not as a condition of emotional emptiness or a facade of insincerity, but as a considered and strategic decision. It entails deliberately opting for a tranquil and composed outward manner, not because we are impervious to sentiment, but because we grasp the profound merits of such a presentation. This calculated serenity represents a potent instrument, facilitating clearer cogitation, more efficacious decision-making, and the deterrence of others exploiting our susceptibilities. It concerns judiciously selecting our involvements and declining to be drawn into every emotional altercation. Envision a chess player confronting an adversary. Each move the opponent executes constitutes a potential provocation, a test of self-control. A precipitous, emotional riposte to a perceived menace or a surprising tactic can precipitate a blunder, a strategic miscalculation that forfeits the game. The adept player, however, observes with a detached concentration, scrutinizing the scenario, contemplating the enduring ramifications, and responding with a calculated maneuver, not an instinctive reaction. Similarly, in the game of existence, sustaining a strategic calm enables us to evaluate situations objectively, devoid of the distorting prism of immediate emotional impulses. When we visibly react to each irritation, each critique, each perceived slight, we expose our vulnerabilities. We broadcast to the world the elements that can perturb us, the aspects that can destabilize us. This information, even if inadvertently conveyed, can be employed against us. Individuals endeavoring to manipulate or govern us can exploit these weaknesses, knowing precisely which pressure points to activate to elicit a desired response. By sustaining a composed exterior, we deny them this advantage. We evolve into a more unpredictable and consequently less readily manipulated entity. Our composure functions as a safeguard, shielding us from those who might seek to capitalize on our emotional reactivity. Furthermore, a strategic calm cultivates lucidity of thought. When we are emotionally agitated, our judgment becomes obscured. The fight-or-flight response is triggered, prioritizing immediate reaction over reasoned deliberation. In such a state, we are more inclined to make impulsive choices that we may subsequently lament. By consciously electing to remain tranquil, even when confronted with challenging or frustrating circumstances, we generate the mental space requisite for rational analysis and effective problem-solving. We can weigh our alternatives, consider the potential consequences of our actions, and respond in a manner that aligns with our long-term objectives, rather than being governed by fleeting emotions. This strategic selection of composure also extends to our interactions with others. When we consistently react emotionally, we can cultivate a perception of instability or volatility. This can impair our relationships, both personal and professional. Individuals may become hesitant to engage with us, fearing an unpredictable outburst or an overreaction. Conversely, a tranquil and collected demeanor projects an image of strength, dependability, and maturity. It fosters trust and respect, rendering our interactions smoother and more productive. Individuals are more inclined to heed and take seriously someone who remains composed under duress. It is crucial to reiterate that strategic calm does not equate to suppressing genuine emotions. It involves acknowledging those sentiments internally without permitting them to dictate our external conduct. We might experience anger, frustration, or disappointment, yet we choose not to lash out, to elevate our voices, or to engage in unproductive disputes. We process our emotions internally, allowing ourselves to feel them without being governed by them. This internal processing empowers us to respond thoughtfully and constructively, rather than react impulsively and destructively. Consider the influence of a leader who remains serene amidst a crisis. Their composure reassures those around them, instilling confidence and enabling clear thinking in a high-pressure scenario. Their strategic calm is not a manifestation of indifference but a demonstration of their capacity to remain focused and effective when it matters most. Similarly, in our own lives, adopting a strategic calm enables us to navigate challenges with greater efficacy and resilience. Acquiring the skill to act as if nothing bothers you, therefore, constitutes a strategic investment in our own well-being and success. It involves recognizing the potency of a measured response, the advantage of sustaining composure, and the protection afforded by not revealing our vulnerabilities. It concerns consciously choosing how we present ourselves to the world, not as a superficial display of indifference, but as a demonstration of our inner fortitude and our commitment to navigating life's complexities with lucidity and control. This strategic calm empowers us to be more effective in our interactions, more resilient in the face of adversity, and ultimately, more in command of our own destinies. It is a conscious decision to wield our composure as a tool, a strategic asset in navigating the intricate landscape of human interaction and the unpredictable currents of existence. The art of acting unperturbed lies in comprehending its profound connection to the preservation of our inner equilibrium. Reacting visibly to each minor vexation, each transient annoyance, and each potentially bothersome encounter functions as a significant depletion of our mental and emotional reserves. It disrupts the delicate balance of our inner world, inviting unnecessary stress and impeding our capacity to sustain a stable emotional state. Acquiring the skill to cultivate an outward appearance of being unbothered serves as a potent shield, safeguarding our inner sanctuary from the constant barrage of external stimuli that threaten to disrupt our tranquility. Envision your mind as a placid lake. When the surface remains undisturbed, the water reflects the surrounding beauty with clarity and serenity. However, each pebble cast into the lake generates ripples, disrupting the smooth surface and obscuring the reflection. Similarly, each instance we permit an external annoyance to elicit a visible reaction, we generate ripples of negativity within our thoughts. These ripples, even if seemingly insignificant, accumulate over time, clouding our cogitations, escalating our stress levels, and ultimately disturbing our inner peace. Consider the cumulative impact of reacting to each negative remark on social media, each delayed email response, each minor inconvenience in our daily routine. Each reaction, however minuscule, consumes a fraction of our mental energy and contributes to an underlying condition of agitation. Over time, this constant state of reactivity can culminate in chronic stress, anxiety, and a diminished capacity for joy and contentment. Our inner equilibrium becomes fragmented, perpetually disrupted by the external world. Acquiring the skill to appear unbothered offers a potent countermeasure to this depletion of our emotional resources. By consciously electing not to react outwardly to each minor irritation, we prevent the genesis of these disruptive ripples within our thoughts. We permit our inner lake to remain calmer, clearer, and more reflective of the positive aspects of our lives. This does not imply that we become oblivious to the world around us, but rather that we choose what we allow to permeate our inner sanctuary and disturb our peace. This act of shielding our inner equilibrium is not about escapism or denial. It concerns consciously managing our energetic output. Each outward reaction, be it a sigh of frustration, a sharp retort, or a visible display of annoyance, necessitates an expenditure of our precious mental and emotional energy. By acquiring the skill to remain outwardly composed, we conserve this energy, enabling us to direct it towards more meaningful pursuits and towards nurturing our inner well-being. Consider it as managing a valuable asset. Our mental and emotional energy is finite. If we expend it lavishly on reacting to each triviality, we will possess less available for matters of genuine import, our relationships, our objectives, our personal advancement. By consciously electing not to engage emotionally with each minor disturbance, we are effectively budgeting our energy, ensuring that we possess ample reserves for what truly merits our attention and investment. Furthermore, upholding an outward semblance of being unperturbed can genuinely foster a heightened sensation of inner tranquility. A potent feedback mechanism exists between our external presentation and our internal condition. When we consciously embrace a serene and composed manner, even if we are experiencing slight internal agitation, this external composure can indeed aid in alleviating our inner turmoil. The very act of regulating our external reactions can exert a soothing influence on our internal state, facilitating a more rapid restoration of our equilibrium. This does not pertain to a superficial pretense until genuine transformation occurs, but rather to leveraging our capacity for self-regulation. By consciously selecting a tranquil outward response, we transmit a signal to our own nervous system indicating that the situation does not constitute a threat necessitating a robust emotional reaction. This can contribute to dampening the physiological responses associated with stress and apprehension, fostering a greater sense of inner serenity. Essentially, acquiring the skill to act as if nothing bothers you represents a potent strategy for safeguarding our inner peace within a world that incessantly endeavors to disrupt it. It involves consciously discerning what we permit to affect us, conserving our mental and emotional vitality, and even employing our outward composure to nurture a heightened sense of inner calm. By establishing this protective barrier around our inner world, we empower ourselves to navigate life's challenges with enhanced fortitude, clarity, and an enduring sense of tranquility. This does not entail becoming immune to feeling, but rather becoming adept in how we manage and protect our precious inner sanctuary, enabling us to live with greater serenity and focus, undeterred by the persistent clamor and minor irritations of the external world. The fourth pivotal aspect in comprehending the efficacy of acting unbothered resides in acknowledging its profound influence on how we are perceived by the world, particularly in cultivating resilience and commanding regard. A serene and composed demeanor, notably when confronted with adversity or provocation, projects an image of inner fortitude and unwavering strength. Individuals are naturally drawn to and tend to respect those who do not become easily flustered, who sustain their equilibrium amidst chaos. This outward manifestation of being unbothered can significantly enhance our interactions and ultimately yield more favorable outcomes across diverse facets of our lives. Consider the portrayal of a seasoned leader navigating a turbulent circumstance. While those surrounding them might be succumbing to panic or expressing anxiety, the leader remains steadfast, their voice tranquil, their manner composed. This outward exhibition of control does not necessarily signify an absence of concern, but it conveys a potent message of resilience and capability. It instills confidence in others and reinforces their authority. Similarly, in our daily existence, when we address challenges with a sense of calm and control, we project an aura of strength that garners respect. When we consistently permit external stimuli to visibly unsettle us, we inadvertently project an image of vulnerability. It suggests that we are easily swayed by circumstances or the opinions of others, rendering us seemingly less capable of handling pressure. This can regrettably lead to others underestimating our abilities or even attempting to exploit our emotional reactivity. Conversely, when we maintain a composed exterior, we signal that we are not easily agitated, that we possess a robust inner core. This projects an image of resilience, suggesting that we can withstand challenges and remain steadfast in our convictions. This perceived resilience constitutes a crucial element in earning respect. Individuals tend to respect those they perceive as strong and in command of themselves. When we do not become easily drawn into arguments, when we do not overreact to criticism, and when we sustain our composure in stressful situations, we demonstrate a level of self-mastery that commands attention and admiration. This respect is not merely superficial. It often translates into more meaningful interactions, greater influence, and a higher likelihood of our opinions and ideas being taken seriously. Reflect upon a negotiation scenario. If one party becomes visibly agitated or defensive, they immediately signal a point of vulnerability to the opposing side. The serene and composed negotiator, conversely, maintains an air of strength and control, making them appear less likely to concede and more likely to achieve their desired outcome. This principle applies to various interactions, from resolving conflicts with loved ones to navigating challenging professional situations. Our outward demeanor significantly influences how others perceive our strength and resolve. Furthermore, acting unbothered can genuinely contribute to the development of authentic resilience. By consciously choosing a calm response, we are practicing emotional regulation. This repeated practice strengthens our capacity to manage our emotions effectively, rendering us less susceptible to being easily bothered in the future. It constitutes a virtuous cycle. Acting resilient can indeed make us more resilient over time. This outward composure also establishes a space for more productive interactions. When we react emotionally, conversations can swiftly escalate into unproductive arguments or defensive posturing. By sustaining a calm demeanor, we cultivate a more stable and rational environment for communication. This facilitates clearer thinking, more constructive dialogue, and a greater likelihood of identifying mutually beneficial solutions. Individuals are more inclined to engage with someone who remains calm and respectful, even when disagreements arise. In essence, acquiring the skill to act as if nothing bothers you is not about donning a deceptive facade. It is about cultivating an inner strength that emanates outward. This outward composure projects an image of resilience and self-mastery, which in turn garners the respect of others. This respect transcends mere admiration. It often translates into tangible benefits in our personal and professional lives, leading to more positive interactions and greater influence. By consciously choosing a serene and composed demeanor, we not only safeguard our inner peace but also cultivate a powerful reputation of strength and resilience, commanding the respect that accompanies self-mastery and emotional fortitude. This outward presentation becomes a testament to our inner strength, fostering more meaningful connections and leading to more successful outcomes in our interactions with the world. The concluding and perhaps most empowering understanding in the endeavor of learning to act as if nothing bothers you is to recognize it not as a destination to be attained overnight, but as a continuous and evolving process of self-awareness and self-discipline. It is an ongoing cultivation of our inner landscape, necessitating that we become intimately acquainted with our triggers, that we consciously practice more mindful and measured responses, and that we gradually nurture a more resilient and less reactive nature. This does not pertain to achieving a state of perpetual unbotheredness, but to embracing a path of continuous growth in our capacity for emotional regulation and inner peace. The journey commences with self-awareness. We must first direct our gaze inward and honestly examine the elements that tend to elicit a strong emotional response within us. What constitute our triggers? Are they specific forms of criticism, particular behaviors from others, distinct situations, or even internal thought patterns? Identifying these triggers represents the initial crucial step, as it enables us to anticipate potential disturbances and prepare ourselves to respond more consciously rather than react automatically. This introspection demands honesty and a willingness to confront our vulnerabilities, recognizing the specific domains where our emotional equilibrium is most readily disrupted. Once we possess a clearer comprehension of our triggers, the subsequent stage involves the active practice of mindful responses. This signifies consciously choosing how we react in the present moment, rather than being swept away by the initial surge of emotion. It might entail taking a deep breath before speaking, creating a brief pause to gather our thoughts, or consciously reframing the situation in a less emotionally charged light. This practice of mindfulness is not invariably effortless, particularly in the heat of the moment, but with consistent effort, it evolves into a more ingrained habit. We begin to establish a space between the external stimulus and our internal reaction, enabling us to choose a more thoughtful and less reactive course of action. This conscious selection of our responses is where self-discipline assumes significance. It necessitates a deliberate endeavor to override our ingrained patterns of reacting. If our immediate impulse is to become defensive or argumentative, self-discipline empowers us to consciously choose a calmer and more constructive approach. This might involve actively listening to the other person's perspective, endeavoring to comprehend their viewpoint, or simply choosing to disengage from a potentially escalating situation. This demands mental fortitude and a commitment to our objective of becoming less reactive. It concerns consistently choosing the path of composure, even when our emotions are urging us to do otherwise. The journey of learning to act as if nothing bothers you is not linear. There will be instances when we falter, when our triggers gain ascendancy, and we react in ways we subsequently regret. These moments do not constitute failures, but rather opportunities for learning and growth. We can reflect upon what triggered us, how we reacted, and what we could approach differently in the future. This process of self-reflection and adjustment forms an integral part of the journey. It emphasizes progress, not perfection. Gradually, with consistent self-awareness and the diligent practice of mindful responses and self-discipline, we begin to cultivate a more resilient nature. We become less readily swayed by external disturbances, our emotional equilibrium becomes more stable, and our capacity for inner peace intensifies. This does not entail becoming emotionless or indifferent, but about developing a greater sense of command over our emotional responses. We still experience emotions, but we are no longer governed by them. We become the master of our inner landscape, rather than being at the mercy of external forces. This journey of self-mastery is profoundly empowering. As we become less reactive, we experience a greater sense of freedom and agency in our lives. We are no longer constantly being tossed about by the whims of the external world or the opinions of others. We are grounded in our own inner strength and able to navigate challenges with greater clarity and composure. This newfound sense of inner control contributes significantly to our overall well-being and our ability to pursue our goals with greater focus and resilience. In conclusion, acquiring the skill to act as if nothing bothers you is not a swift remedy but a lifelong journey of self-discovery and self-improvement. It necessitates that we become acutely aware of our triggers, that we diligently practice more mindful and measured responses, and that we cultivate the self-discipline requisite to override our ingrained reactive patterns. This ongoing process gradually builds our resilience, strengthens our inner peace, and ultimately empowers us to navigate the complexities of life with greater composure and control. It stands as a testament to our commitment to personal growth and a continuous striving towards a more balanced and less reactive existence, recognizing that mastery over our own responses is a lifelong pursuit, yielding ever-increasing benefits along the way. In essence, acquiring the skill to act as if nothing bothers you is not about constructing an impenetrable barrier around ourselves or stifling our genuine emotions. It is a holistic journey encompassing self-awareness, strategic composure, the safeguarding of our inner peace, the cultivation of resilience and respect, and a continuous commitment to self-mastery. By comprehending the distinction between what we can and cannot control, by choosing our reactions strategically, by safeguarding our inner tranquility, by projecting strength through our calm demeanor, and by embracing this as an ongoing process of growth, we empower ourselves to navigate the inevitable tempests of life with greater elegance, effectiveness, and an enduring sense of inner peace. This does not entail becoming emotionless, but about becoming masters of our own responses, leading to more fulfilling and impactful lives. Thank you for your time and attention. I trust these insights will inspire you on your own journey towards greater composure and inner strength.